how are you all doing? Today, we're diving into the world of the ocean worms who have been turned into a nightmare story. What are they defending themselves against that land worms never had to deal with? And which ocean worm is the most terrifying? Let's get into it. The living bear trap for the bobbit worm. Okay, so let's start with the bobbit worm. One of the most striking changes you will ever witness is this one. The beast in question can reach a length of 10 feet. The problem is that it buries 95% of its body beneath the sand. Thus, you will rarely view its entire body. What is protruding then? 5 devices that resemble antennae and serve as motion detectors. And when are these sensors activated? The speed at which the worm strikes is astounding. We're speaking too quickly for your eyes to follow. Before it even realizes what has happened, the prey is grabbed and pulled inside the burrow. Now here's what makes this hunting strategy so effective. The bobbit worm doesn't have real eyes, just some basic light-sensitive organs. So it literally has no idea what it's eating. It can't identify what's coming near. If something moves near its burrow, the worm attacks. Fish, octopus, crab, it doesn't matter. Movement equals lunch. Once it catches something, it tries to drag the whole thing underground. But with larger prey, that doesn't always work out. So you know what it does? Just tears off whatever chunk it can and lets the rest go. Efficient? Yes. Brutal? Absolutely. But here's the really creepy part. These worms are insanely good at hiding. There are actual documented cases of bobbit worms accidentally ending up in people's home aquariums. Someone grabs a piece of coral from the ocean, brings it home, and sticks it in their tank. Everything seems totally normal at first. Then the fish start disappearing. Every single morning, another expensive fish is either gone or chopped in half. The owner is going crazy trying to figure out what's happening. And then one day, they finally see it, a massive worm retreating into the gravel. These things can hide in aquariums for literal years, just hunting continuously. It's basically gaslighting you into thinking you're the one killing your fish.
Why ocean worms evolved differently?
So why ocean worms are so different from land worms? It all comes down to environmental pressures and available resources. On land, earthworms are decomposers. That's their whole job. They process dead leaves and rotting stuff in the soil. Sure, birds eat them all the time, but they've got no real defense. And honestly, it works out fine, because there's food everywhere. Dead leaves, rotting plants, and decomposing wood are constantly available. Earthworms don't have to compete with anything dangerous for their food. No earthworm has ever had to fight a bear for a pile of leaves. And honestly, that's probably never going to happen. Their survival strategy is super simple. Just reproduce like crazy. Earthworms produce so many offspring that predators can't possibly kill them all. It's survival through sheer numbers, not individual strength. But the ocean? Completely different story. Coral reefs are crowded, competitive war zones filled with armored creatures that have claws and teeth. Down there, you can't just survive by being numerous. Worms had to become weapons. On land, gravity puts a hard limit on how big soft-bodied creatures can get. If an earthworm tried to grow 10 feet long like a bobbit worm, it would just fail. It would be way too heavy to move. It would become this immobile, vulnerable target that can't hunt or escape anything. Water changes everything. Buoyancy counteracts gravity and supports massive bodies without needing bones. This lets aquatic worms grow massive muscles, develop thick armor, and build heavy jaws without collapsing under their own weight. The fire worm, chemical warfare. Not all ocean worms went the size and strength route. Some took a completely different approach and got toxic instead. Check out the bearded fireworm. At first glance, this guy looks pretty harmless. It's brightly colored, not that big, and it's got these white fuzzy structures running down its body that look like soft bristles. You might actually feel tempted to reach out and touch it. Big mistake. Huge. Those soft-looking bristles are actually thousands of hollow glass-like needles filled with neurotoxin. Even barely touching a fireworm causes these bristles to snap off and embed in your skin, injecting venom straight into your nerve endings. The pain hits immediately. People describe it as feeling like their hand literally caught on fire. The venom causes intense burning, nausea, and dizziness that can last for days. Here's what's interesting. Fireworms actually share a lot with earthworms. They're slow, they've got soft bodies, and they'd be super easy to eat. Their toxic defense is literally the only thing keeping them from going extinct on the reef. When you can't run and you can't hide, sometimes the best defense is just being incredibly unpleasant to eat. The ribbon worm, extreme length. Okay, so the bobbit worm looks massive, right? Well, it's only about 5% the length of the ocean's longest worm. Meet the ribbon worm. Specifically, the bootlace worm species, which holds the record as the longest animal on Earth. Blue whales max out at around 100 feet. A documented bootlace worm measured an estimated 180 feet. That's half a football field made entirely of worms. Just think about that for a second. Not like snakes, which are pure muscle. Ribbon worms are fragile and gelatinous. So how do they hunt? They've got this thing called a proboscis, a muscular structure they normally keep inside their body. During an attack, they literally turn it inside out and shoot this sticky web-like mass out of their face to trap prey. It looks absolutely disturbing, like the worm is vomiting out its internal organs to catch food. And yeah, the secreted stuff is mildly acidic. It can irritate human skin, but you're probably not going to get seriously hurt. So why evolve to be this ridiculously long? It's all about breathing efficiency. These worms don't have lungs or gills. They breathe entirely through their skin. By maxing out body length while staying super thin, they create a massive surface area for oxygen absorption. And plus, there's the laziness factor. When you're 180 feet long, you don't need to go hunt. Your body covers so much distance that prey just runs into you. You can't tuck your vital organs safely in a crevice and stretch your rest of your body across the seafloor like a living tripwire. Now, you'd think being that big and exposed would make you an easy target, right? But ribbon worms have that covered too. They secrete this thick mucus all over their body that tastes absolutely horrible and is probably toxic. Predators learn real quick to avoid them. The tube worm, living without eating. Some ocean worms go for thickness instead of length. Giant tube worms live in one of the most extreme places on Earth, hydrothermal vents. We're talking about underwater volcanoes that spew out superheated, chemically toxic water. Fish can't survive there. Bobbit worms can't survive there. Earthworms, definitely not. But tube worms, they thrive there. Clustered around vents in huge colonies, growing up to 8 feet tall. Here's where it gets weird. They have no eyes, no mouth, no digestive system, and no way to get rid of waste. They're essentially closed biological systems. So how are they alive? They've eliminated eating through bacterial symbiosis. Inside their bodies is this specialized organ packed with billions of bacteria. These bacteria can process hydrogen sulfide, a chemical that would kill most life forms instantly. The vent water is loaded with this stuff. The worms absorb it and feed it to their bacterial partners. The bacteria convert that toxic chemical into sugar through chemosynthesis. That sugar feeds the worm. The whole system runs on volcanic chemistry instead of actual food. And because they don't waste energy hunting, chewing, or digesting, they grow incredibly fast. Giant tube worms are literally the fastest growing marine invertebrates ever documented by science. They can grow nearly 3 feet in a single year. They're completely harmless to us though. They can't hurt you at all. They don't even know you exist. They have no brain structure, no thoughts, no worries, no brain, just vibes and bacteria. The ocean basically stripped these creatures down to the absolute minimum version of life. They can't leave their tube, can't respond to threats, and can't recognize danger. They're essentially just biological apartment buildings for bacterial colonies.
The zombie worm, decomposers of bone. Some ocean worms fill a similar role to earthworms, processing dead organic material, but the zombie version is way more disturbing. When whales die and sink to the ocean floor, scientists call it a whale fall. These attract thousands of scavengers who eat all the soft tissue over weeks or months. Once only the skeleton is left, most scavengers bounce. That's when zombie worms show up. Like tube worms, zombie worms have no mouth or stomach. Instead, they grow these root-like structures that drill deep into solid bone. These roots secrete acid that dissolves the calcium, letting their bacterial partners extract and process the fats and oils stored inside the bone. They're literally dissolving whale skeletons and drinking the nutrients through their feet. It's like a bone smoothie, except way more disturbing than that already sounds. Their reproductive cycle is equally bizarre. If you look at zombie worms, you're only seeing females. For years, scientists couldn't find the males anywhere. They searched everywhere until finally they realized the males had been inside the females the whole time. Male zombie worms never grow up. They stay as microscopic larvae whose only purpose is to live inside the tube of a female. Sometimes 50 to 100 males per female. They don't eat, they don't leave, they just exist to fertilize eggs and then die. This is one of the most extreme examples of specialized reproduction in the entire animal kingdom. There you have it. These aren't simple worms anymore. They're highly specialized organisms that have pushed the boundaries of what worm body structure can achieve. The ocean didn't just change them, it transformed them into something entirely different. Which of these worms do you find most fascinating? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you found this exploration of marine biology interesting, please like and subscribe for more content examining the unusual adaptations of ocean life. Thank you for reading.